Welcome to Comics Connects, the podcast where we explore the ideas, technologies, and people shaping the future of work. I'm Nick Cross from Comics. We're Australia's leading digital workspaces and cybersecurity specialist. In each episode, we'll connect with industry experts and thought leaders to uncover how organizations are transforming the way that teams work, stay secure, and thrive in a digital-first world. Let's connect now. Welcome to Comics Connects. I'm Nick Cross. In today's hybrid world, organizations invest heavily in platforms, security, and infrastructure. Yet users still lose productivity every day due to issues that no one can see. Systems can show us up. Dashboards look green, but the business feels the impact when people can't work. 2Steps as a technology exists to close that gap, giving organizations visibility into what users actually experience before issues become outages, lost revenue, or frustrated teams. Comics are proud to be a partner with 2Steps and welcome them to the Comics Connect series.
My name's David Dick. I'm the head of customer success at 2Steps. I've been in that role for 5 years now, but in the general role of monitoring, I've been there for about 20 years.
Can you briefly introduce 2Steps and explain the core problem it was created to solve for organizations struggling to understand and protect user productivity?
So that's an excellent question. So 2Steps, I would say 2Steps is here to make sure that your users can get their work done. Now that sounds ridiculous from a monitoring point of view. People think they've got tool sets like that, but they don't. They have tool sets to help their system administrators administer the systems, tracking CPU, tracking disk space. But when it comes to the question of, can my users get their work done? So that's what 2Steps is designed to solve. To answer that question, can my users get their work done? Regardless of technology, regardless of where their location is, just telling it yes or no.
In today's hybrid world then, so where you've got distributed environments, distributed people who are trying to work, how should organizations really be thinking about user productivity, and why do traditional monitoring approaches fall short?
I think for me, monitoring tools, they're only used when problems are happening. Okay. Now, you think about user productivity when something bad happens. We go back to the previous statement of your existing monitoring tools are looking after a particular silo. These guys are looking after disk space. These guys are looking after databases. These guys are looking after applications. No one's actually looking at end-to-end, can my users get their work done? So when a crisis happens and users start complaining, the people in charge say, right, bring everyone together in a war room, sit down, what's happening? And everyone does this. It's that guy's fault.
Okay.
I've looked at my tools. Everything says I'm up and running. And they all say the same thing. And then you're in heaps of trouble because the users are complaining. There are users out there who give excellent reports about what's gone wrong, but they are rare.
Yeah.
Mostly, I can't get in. I can't access the system. It's not working. It's broken. What is broken? Is it your VDI? Is it Citrix? Is it your network? Is it the application itself? Tell me what is happening on your screen. And with 2Steps, that's what we provide. We provide that view of, here is a virtual user that you've trained up beforehand to walk through this sequence of steps. Start up Citrix, launch the application inside Citrix, walk through a sequence of steps, shut it down again, and you'll get that regular view all the time. So when it breaks, your war room gets to see exactly what the users would be saying if they tried to access that.
Okay.
Very, very important. It's cutting down all that time of just the blame game, the blaming each other. It's not me. What you're looking for is only the things you know about with your existing monitoring tools. Okay, 2Steps, it'll just show you what is happening, not what somebody thought would happen.
That's really interesting because the IT service desk might be looking at their dashboards and saying it's green here or it's yellow. They don't know what the worst performing user actually is experiencing at any time.
Yeah. And also from the point of view of your monitoring tools are built to check things they know about.
Mhm.
All right. You can't do more than that, right? I know that CPU on this machine is important. I know that disk on this machine is important. Okay. Did you know there was an SSL certificate in your database? I did not know that. Oh, well, it's just expired. And that's why your system is down. Unless you're looking for it, you won't see it. It's 2 steps. You're logging into the system. You're accessing the database. It'll show database errors. And why is it showing that? The database doesn't know. The SSL certificate's been refused. You can't get that connectivity. Your application knows that something went wrong, but I don't know because I haven't been built to cope with that. But 2 steps will see this is what's happening. So it's that critical part of detecting the unknowns.
And IT leaders often hear that the system's down. We've talked about they're then convened into the war room. But by the time they've investigated and everything now looks fine, how does 2-Step fundamentally change the conversation from something went wrong, but where is that issue? But how does it change it to look at, we know where it went wrong?
2 steps has the ability to video record exactly what the user or what your virtual users are seeing. So when I go out to, say, a hospital network, a regional hospital network, and I get complaints from them saying my system is down, what 2 steps offered is that visual recreation of exactly what the users see at that point in time. So one of so we invented our visual recording mechanism first. So just being able to cope with any sort of technology, so long as we've got network access and credentials, we can automate it. We invented that first, and we were super happy with it. Like, just yes, finally we can monitor any system on the planet. It was great. But the very first customer we deployed it on, we discovered internet issues immediately. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Great. It's
really works.
First off, we discovered it. So we reported it to the customer, and they just came back and said, no, we're not having any issues. If we were having issues, our support desk would have told us about it. Okay?
It's a lot of trust in people.
Well, at a certain point in time, it's Stockholm syndrome, right? I reported it the first 10 times, but the support desk couldn't do anything about it, so I'm just going to ignore it and wait until it gets better, right? But once we video recorded it and showed what the error was, one of the developer in the room was like, oh, that error. Oh, we didn't know that was happening in production. We'd only ever seen that in development. And we'd gone from weeks of arguing about an issue with the customer to minutes of, that issue. I understand exactly what that is. Excuse me while I go away and fix it.
Wonderful.
So it's that sort of productivity gains of when you're having problems, you must have visibility.
So traditional tools can tell you the system's up. We've talked about the developer issue. We're aware of that, but we weren't realizing it was in production. Making that information usable. How does 2-Steps demonstrate the replication of real user journeys end to end? And you've touched on it, but why is that so valuable?
So I think there's a number of reasons for that. I think the first and foremost, giving the ability of people who are skilled in the application an ability to be able to automate it. Okay, so rather than somebody saying, look, we need to test this particular function and leaving that to the monitoring team to try and figure out, well, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2-Steps gives you the ability of being able to say, here is a tool set, a point and click recording tool set that allows non-programmers, people who are experts in the application or in the function, to be able to say, I need to be able to click on this button and this particular word needs to appear, this particular icon needs to appear. So it democratizes the ability to be able to look after a system. Anyone can do it.
So it allows a process to follow through, and you repeat that cycle every 5 minutes. And if something goes wrong, you can see where the issue occurs.
One of the awesome things about 2-Steps as far as whenever you've been in disaster, crisis, people always say, just check it manually. Check to see manually if it was working. Okay, and then some poor human being gets down and starts starting up the application and running through it and testing it. Carbon-based life forms, humans.
Yes.
We make errors. We get lazy. We get tired. We
know how to shortcut it.
We know how to shortcut systems. That's not what. But with a virtual user, a user built out of silicon, you'll get exactly the same every 5 minutes. If you're If your patching didn't work at 2:00 in the morning, you'll find out about it at 2:05. You won't have to wait till 9:00 in the morning to discover actually the patch didn't go quite as well as we thought it did.
One frustration with monitoring tools is the noise. It's the false positives that the administrations get. We want to avoid the war room scenario here. How does 2Steps provide clearer, more actionable insight, pinpointing where the issues actually sit in the network, the application, the authentication, or the process? How do you do that?
Normal monitoring systems try and bubble up information. So yeah, look, the CPU on this machine is high. Therefore, the application's impacted, right? We should fix that. So you'll get a lot of, the problem with that is every time the CPU on that machine goes up, some poor person in your support desk is getting an alert. And you multiply that out by all the machines in your network, and it becomes a flood of events. And once you've got a flood of events, people start ignoring them. And every time you hear about catastrophes of, a phone network stopped responding, a banking system failed, whatever it is, the core reason is usually the same. Oh yes, the alert was that was measured. You were definitely told about it. Yeah, I was told about it, but I was told about 40,000 other different things, and I couldn't tell which is which. I think the great advantage that 2Steps has in that, with a 2Steps dashboard, you get an icon that says this application is up. The end.
Let's say you're in a retail store. Let's say you're selling car parts or something similar. You've got a distributed network, and that system is online, and they're there taking money, selling spark plugs or whatever it is.
Yep.
If they can't take money and they can't work from that store,
yep,
your system can make sure somebody knows about it and can look to rectify that issue so that they can sell the spark plugs, the windscreen wipers, etc.
Absolutely. So we can absolutely do that. But I think the critical point here is we can tell you exactly when the problem failed. Okay, so one of the things, my favorite sayings is that code doesn't rust. Right, so I'm a programmer. That's where I came from. So you don't get code that one day fails to function. Something blew up or something. No, code works all the time. What breaks is infrastructure, or human beings doing something to infrastructure more specifically.
Yeah.
So, and that sort of stuff usually happens at night, when people aren't feeling all that good and they're a bit tired and they're not doing. So having that warning of not only being able to tell you, yes, this particular retail outlet is down, but it's been down since this time.
Could be someone who's dug up the road in the middle of the night, gone through the internet, and someone knows at 3:00, you can put in provisions around a different network.
Absolutely. And the difference between having that warning at 9:00 in the morning when your customers are starting to try and access the system and 3:00 when they were trying to dig up the road, it's huge. It's a massive advantage.
When organizations adopt 2Steps, what tangible outcomes do they typically see? You gave an example around the developer and being aware of that. Lots of arguments until you had to hit home with that. But in terms of productivity for the user or reduced downtime, confidence for leadership, how do you demonstrate return on investment?
One of our customers, a major health network in Australia, they had the issue of when you have issues at a hospital, the doctors and nurses are phoning up and saying, we can't access our health system, our EMR system. The support desk didn't know about the issue. So that's problem number one. Then they fix the issue, they think, but they don't know. So they have to, if you don't have visibility out at the remote site, the only way to be sure is by calling up the people dealing with customers, with patients, with her, and asking them, once again, I'd like you to stop doing your work and help me figure out if your IT systems are working. Right? So with 2Steps, you've got the reverse. You've got, not only can they see exactly what the problems are at remote sites, the car dealer from before, but you can see when you've fixed the problem. You've got that visibility end to end. You're not guessing anymore. There's no, I didn't know that I didn't know that. Well, now I do know that I know that, and I can, no. You've proved it end to end. That unexpected thing happened, but I still detected it.
Ticket has been properly resolved. We now move forward.
Correct.
No risk to patient care.
Yep.
No, not being able to sell a spark plug. The business is now back on market.
Correct.
Can you share a real world example where 2Steps have identified a critical issue or degradation in the environment before the users were impacted? And what would the business impact have been without that visibility?
One of a really unusual example for me, but a very, very cool one, was a banking customer that we have. We're already testing their internet banking all the way through, and we thought that was really, really good. And the customer came back to us and said, "We want you to test that money is being transferred from one account to another." We're sitting there going, "But it's a bank. Why would you need to test that? That doesn't make any sense." But yes, we tested it, and yes, it produced issues. These times of day, money transfers would fail. You couldn't get through. And you're like, that seems like an important thing. So it's the really that core function of, do I know that my systems are up and running? Do I really know that my system? How? You don't have any tool sets that address that issue. The only tool sets you have are designed to answer different questions. One of the issues that we have as a company is, because that's the case, because we're the only company who is looking after the end-to-end flow, there's often not somebody responsible for that in the company, in the customer's company. Why would you make somebody responsible for that? They don't have any ability to be able to check it. We'll just put somebody in charge of databases. We'll put somebody in charge of Citrix. We'll put somebody in charge of the file system, because they're the things we can measure. We can't measure, can our customers get just do their work?
Overall user productivity score.
Until you get up to the CTO. Okay, where, yes, it's absolutely his responsibility for that sort of stuff. But it's a difficult conversation to have, because people just aren't used to the idea of, you have this ability, you have an option.
The CTO having an option, being aware of this, and
two totally different things, right? And this is where partners like ComEx will come into it, because they can introduce these concepts. Without your consulting time, people will never hear about this.
The IT service desk, where the CTO says, right, service desk lead, let's gather the troops, let's try and solve this issue and keep moving forward. If they knew they had this option available to them, they could make people, A, have access to it, and B, improve how they work.
And one of the disappointing parts for us is that when you get customers only typically find out about these things when they've suffered a catastrophe. And then you get the frustration of, we had a German customer last year who came up to us. They were using Azure Virtual Desktop, and they're having huge issues with it, huge issues. And so they called us up, said, "Look, we found you from the opposite side of the planet. You guys are the only people who can do this. We need you to come in and monitor this system for us." Like, sure, no problems, delighted to. And then as we were working through the process, they said, "Oh, don't worry about it. The issue's gone away. We'll be fine." The issue's gone away? What, magically by itself? This is IT, right? It's not a theoretical world. It's the real world. 3 months later, they call us back. The issue happened again. This time we actually do need you. It's a
bit of humble pie there.
But they were good guys, right? They acknowledged, yes, we made a mistake. We should have brought you in just to start off with. But it's a process that everyone goes through. It's, you have a disaster. Oh, that's just a one-off. Is it a one-off? Are you sure that those events aren't going to happen again? Because it's happened once. It might happen again.
Where ComEx take the view is 2Steps can demonstrate where a problem exists in your environment. What problem are you trying to prove exists? And let's help you demonstrate that.
If you come to the process of fixing problems, the first thing you need to do is be able to measure what the problem is. And if you have one of your guys come in and say, "Oh, look, I fixed the problem." Okay, well, how are we planning on measuring that? Yeah, good point. Unless you have something that can measure that this workflow works 98% of the time, I need to be 100% of the time. You've applied a fix. Let's go and measure it and see, have you actually fixed the problem? No, it's gone down to 96% of the time. So you haven't actually fixed the problem. You've actually made it worse. Roll back that change and let's have another go at it. 100%.
Healthcare environments could be life and death.
Yes.
Could be millions of dollars from a retail side. From a banking side of things, the ability to transfer money quickly every time, 2Steps can help solve this.
100%. 100%. I think the other thing that's really interesting there is the move to SaaS type services. Now, if you're monitoring your system, well, you've got access to all the infrastructure, don't you? Except for that SaaS service over there. What are you monitoring with that set? Oh, well, but I've had people tell me with a straight face, that our SaaS provider provides us with a monitoring dashboard where they monitor their own systems. And I was like, are you kidding me?
We have SLA.
Yeah, so you're taking their word that their system is up and operating. Well, I mean, they might be good guys. They might be very genuine, but yeah.
And you prove it to your CTO.
Trust but verify, I think, is that statement. It's just maybe it'd be a good idea just to check it for yourself. One of our suppliers that we're dealing with has been doing this game of the irritating support call of, we're having problems. Oh, really? I'll get back to you. I'm still having are you having problems now? Well, right, no, it's come good. Oh, so everything's fine then.
We'll close the ticket.
We'll close it. I don't think that, no, something very wrong has happened there. That is not how the world is supposed to work, but it does. Unless you've got some sort of independent verification, how can you go back to them at the end of the day and say, oh, look, this is what happened. Oh, that was just a local issue. It was probably just on your machine. Did you try rebooting?
You need to overcome that.
I need an independent source that just robotically walks through a process over and over again and gives me a video recording to say, explain this error message. Yeah. Tell me how that is not your fault.
Particularly where it's not on your infrastructure.
Because once again, the SaaS services are using the same tools we are, right? They have the same problem. They're measuring everything that they know about. Yeah. Lots of times they'll have issues they don't know about. I mean, but I'm the one affected by that.
David, you talked about a virtual user. So what do you need to set up 2Steps in your environment? So you've got different branches and you've got a data center. Tell me how we need to set this up.
2Steps provides a software package. So the software package is installed on a Linux virtual machine, and everywhere where you want to measure the customer experience, you just deploy a virtual machine. So that can be on a small hardware appliance, a NUC, something like that, or it can be in a dedicated virtual machine environment. And all of the nodes are connected together by a single connection. And then you can just instruct from your central dashboard to say, I wish this particular remote node to run this workflow. And that happens automatically. So from a for that virtual user, the central node is considered the brains of the operation, and the nodes are just the virtual users.
So you can set different processes for different virtual users, and you can set them the frequency you wish to run those tests.
Correct. And the building of the test and the scheduling of the test all happens from that central point, and it's all via a point-and-click interface. So the users themselves have got enormous control in being able to say, this is the exact workflow I want you to run from, and this is the location I want you to run from, and this is how often I want you to run the job.
So it actually brings a bit of ownership between, say, a store manager, for example, who really knows how their team work, to work with IT to say, let's make sure we're always up and running and give them the best experience.
Absolutely.
How is 2Steps easier to roll out than traditional monitoring tools?
Traditional monitoring tools usually require an integration with your core systems. So your systems operate on these machines. That means monitoring functions need to be also installed on those machines. And that's where bad things happen. Hey, look, my system was running fine until your monitoring software was installed on it. Your monitoring software caused bad things to happen. These sorts of crazy things that can be said. And depending on the power of the application teams, they can just say, no, I don't want this anymore. You're causing more harm than good. With 2Steps, our only impact on the end system is one more user accessing your system. Okay? So from a point of view of, we recommend to our customers that they install 2Steps first, use 2Steps as the pointy end of the spear to test. This is the current state of the system. You are up 95% of the time. You are up 100% of the time. You are slightly slower than your thresholds. Okay? And then the customer can, they've got the advantage of being able to say, instead of anyone who's tried to roll out infrastructure monitoring knows how long it can take to get everything monitored. You don't want to waste your team's time by looking at monitoring things that don't fail. Okay? You want to be able to focus your infrastructure team, say, look, Active Directory is giving us some problems. How do we know that? Because the login checkpoint in my workflow is consistently the problem point. Let's instrument Active Directory. But what about all these databases and these file systems? Are they giving us problems? No, they aren't. We'll instrument them later. For the moment, focus on Active Directory, get that up and running. It allows you, so 2Steps monitoring can be up and running in, I've seen some crazy efforts. People monitoring hundreds of applications in an afternoon, but you can get 2Steps operating within, say, 15 minutes to half an hour. Think about just the magnitude of that. You'd be able to monitor an application end to end in half an hour. Okay. Once you've got that monitoring up and running, then you can measure it. You go back to you can't improve what you can't measure, right? Measure what your workflow is, then improve it, then see what the effects are, and focus in your infrastructure monitoring, not on just, hey, we're just going to roll through the entire application of hundreds of machines and just focus what you're doing.
Core processes. And the great thing is you can actually replicate a multi-factor authentication login as well.
Absolutely. So, once again, the idea of this point and click mechanism of just whatever your users are doing. Yeah. So the customer I was talking to you about before, one of their requirements was being able to use two-factor authentication via email. We're like, okay, no problems. Bang, there you go. It's that ability about having a technology company being able to talk directly to a technology company, not a giant behemoth that is not going to pay any attention to your requirements, but being able to look at them and say, I need this particular type of workflow. Two-factor authentication via email. Whatever it is, yes. Point and click interface to it. Away you go.
Goes back to what are the problems you're trying to demonstrate and solve? Let's put 2Steps in to make that happen.
That's the one, absolutely.
For organizations considering 2Steps, why does partnering with COMEX lead to better outcomes? And how quickly can customers move from reactive to proactive monitoring?
Well, so I think that's a very important point, because partners like COMEX, you guys have done wonderful work with us with looking and understanding the customer's problems. So we can provide technology. Can we say, hey, look, this is a piece of technology that you've never seen before, and it can really, really improve your life. But without a partner there to walk them through an understanding of the business process itself and to be able to interpret it as well. You guys came to us with the problem of load testing. Can 2Steps do load testing? Well, I think it can. Sure, let's give it a go. Like that cooperation between technology provider and partner, I think, is absolutely critical, because you can put the available tool sets in context for the customer and say, it will solve this problem for you.
A particular customer you spoke to, they were planning to move from on-premises to a public cloud. So proving and validating something would work at scale and demonstrating it would be a consistent user experience was then possible for that example.
So I think that use case is a great one for, you're migrating, you're going into a new environment, let 2Steps help you with that. And once you're in the new environment, just keep the monitoring running and just walk on with it. Knowing that I have faith in the technology, I've got a partner who can assist me with it and provide advice. Your life's going to improve, guaranteed.
Thank you, David. At the end of the day, proactive monitoring isn't about more dashboards. It's about protecting productivity. reducing risk and giving both IT and the business confidence that systems will work when they're needed. With 2Steps and Comex working together, organizations gain not just visibility, but a partner who helps turn insight into action, moving teams out of reactive firefighting and into a more predictable, resilient operating model. Thank you for tuning in to Comex Connects. I'm Nick Cross, and I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation on how technology and innovation are driving smarter, safer workplaces. To learn more about how Comex can help your organization build a secure and seamless digital workspace, visit teamcomex.com.au or connect with us on LinkedIn. Until next time, stay connected and stay secure.